This is a presentation on the MLA Works Cited page. During this video, I'll discuss some basic formatting of the document as a whole, and I'll also show you how to do a hanging indent, but we'll also talk about how to construct some citations. According to the MLA style, every research paper must have a Works Cited page. Some instructors may refer to this document as the bibliography or the Works Consulted page, but if you're assigned to follow the MLA style, then it really should be called the Works Cited page and nothing else. Here are a few basic formatting tips. The Works Cited page is submitted with the research paper, but it starts on its own page. Even if your essay leaves plenty of space on the last page, you should still start a new one for the Works Cited page. Be sure to include a page number heading. Since the Works Cited page is part of the essay, if your paper is 10 pages, the Works Cited page will start on page 11. Like the rest of your paper, the whole document will be double-spaced. Also, don't skip lines between citations. This is not necessary because each citation will be alphabetized, and it will also have a hanging indent, which is where the top line of each citation hangs out 5 spaces to the left. This enables readers to skim the document and find what they are looking for quickly. This is a sample Works Cited page. Notice the page number in the top right corner, the centered, unpunctuated title, and the spacing, particularly the hanging indent. I'll show you how to do a hanging indent now. To do it, first type all your citations into a blank document, alphabetizing them either by title or by author's last name. Be sure not to manually try to do your hanging indent with the tab key or the space bar. It's nearly impossible to do this, so I'll show you a handy trick instead. You'll want to make sure that the ruler is showing, so to do that you can go up to the View tab in Word and make sure that the ruler box is checked, and this will bring up the ruler. So you'll highlight all of your citations, hover the cursor over the bottom triangle in the ruler until that little window that says Hanging Indent pops up. Click and drag the cursor a ½ inch or 5 spaces into the right and let go. Voila! You'll notice that all the secondary lines in your citations have been indented. The contents of citations can strike some students as overwhelming because there are so many picky details. It's true, there are a lot of picky details, but you don't need to memorize them. No one in his right mind should bother memorizing all of that material. The key to doing well on the Works Cited page is to have a reliable resource that you can refer back to constantly. We'll get to that in a moment. First, I'll show you what goes into citations, not so that you can memorize this information, but so you'll know what to keep track of when you gather your sources. This is what a citation for a book will look like. The last name of the author will always come first, then the first name, and then a period. The title of the book comes next, and book titles are always in italics, not underlined, and they should be in title case. Then add another period. Then you'll put the city of publication, colon, the name of the publisher, comma, year of publication, period. All of this information can be found on the title page of the book. Lastly, you must include the medium of the publication. The medium refers to the format of the source. If it's a physical book, magazine, or newspaper with pages that you can actually turn, then you would write the word print, followed by a period. If it's an electronic source, or you got it from the internet, you would write the word web. The punctuation in your citation is important, so be sure to follow the examples carefully in your style guide. Here are 2 examples of citations for books. The reason I include 2 is to show you that citations for any medium can quickly get complicated. This first example has only one author, but he has 3 names. So the last name, Rilke, comes first, followed by a comma, and then his first and middle names, Rainer Maria. But in the next example, the book I'm using has 2 authors. When there's more than one author, you'll include the last name first for the first author listed, but you'll just write the next author's name normally with the first name first. So Richard is the first name for author 1, and Josipa is the first name for author 2. Again, you don't have to memorize this, but you do need to know that there's a specific way to format it when your source seems slightly out of whack. You certainly can't just make up formatting that seems logical to you when your book doesn't fit the standard guideline I showed on the last slide. Other unconventional books, aside from books with multiple authors, can be those written by a corporate author, translated books, or compilations or anthologies that probably don't have a single author, but may have an editor. I'll demonstrate 2 other types of citations, one from an online database and one from a website, since these are probably the most common media you'll be using besides books. Please notice that the formatting for these sources is specific and unique to each medium. For example, the research database ProQuest is named in the citation for the scholarly article. It's important to note that research databases are not the publishers for the articles. A database is simply a collection of hundreds of different journals, magazines, and other publications. Therefore, it's essential to put the publication title in there too. This one is called Historical Journal. The next citation is from a news article found online. The usual suspects are included in this citation: author name, article title, publication title. But there are a couple of other things in here too. First, you must include the company that owns the site. For example, if I go to CNN.com and scroll down to the very bottom of the page, you can see that CNN.com is owned by the Turner Broadcasting System. Not all websites have parent companies. This one, for the Friends of the Columbia Gorge, for example, is published by the organization itself. They are not owned by another company. So let's say I want to cite this press release. I'll include the title, Press Release, Friends Spring Hiking Program, in quotation marks in my citation, and then I'll follow that with Friends of the Columbia Gorge in italics, because that's the name of the website. Let's go back to our example citations. The last thing I want to point out is that all electronic source citations should have 2 dates: the date it was published and the date it was accessed by you. Date of publication comes before the medium, and date of access comes after. So this New York Times article was written on April 7th, and then I read it on April 9th. If there is no date of publication, then you can write ND for no date. But of course, there will always be a date of access. Once again, you don't need to memorize this. The key is to have your style guide at the ready. My favorite resource is the Online Writing Lab, a comprehensive guide to the MLA and APA styles published by Purdue University in Indiana. This site is commonly referred to as the OWL Guide. Your instructor may require you to use another handbook, though, so be sure to use the resource that you are instructed to use. It's a bad idea to follow instructions from sites like ehow.com or about.com. The authors of these sites are not authoritative, and we can't be sure that the information is always correct or up to date. So do a Google search for OWL MLA. This will bring up the MLA section of the site. Remember, they also describe the APA style on this site, so make sure you get to the MLA section. You'll notice a long table of contents on the left-hand side of the page. There are several links for the Works Cited page, and they vary by medium. So if you need to figure out how to cite a website, just click on Electronic Sources. This page will show you in detail how to create your citations correctly. And if you look back at the table of contents link here, you'll see that the site offers lots of other information about in-text citations, formatting, how to format quotations. Please familiarize yourself with all these really helpful pages. I hope this presentation has helped demystify the Works Cited page a little for you. When it comes to the research paper, teachers often think of the biblical quote, "Give a man to fish, and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for a lifetime." That quote applies perfectly to the MLA research paper because instructors simply cannot give you all the information you need to write and format your paper. The only way for you to be successful is to know how to find and use the right resources. So, go cast your line. Of course, if you're still having trouble, please contact your instructor or check in with the CGCC library. They'll be glad to help.